So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name is Baron Grant and I'm rapt to be with you today to talk about some more tips and tricks that are going to help you to lose all the weight you want and keep it off, and especially at Christmas time. Because I think this becomes a weird time of the year where I talk to so many people every day, it's nuts, right? But in those conversations, often people say, I don't want to start until after Christmas, or Christmas is here, I don't want to do it now. And so I have all these discussions about Christmas all the time. So today, I'm going to give 5 tips to put you in that if you follow, will put you in a good place for after the Christmas period, so that you haven't just loaded on and stacked on weight over that Christmas period, because we don't really need to, but I think sometimes we give ourselves too much of an out, and we give ourselves lots of excuses about why we must eat crappy food. And when you think about it like that, you start to realize it's a bit silly, really. But if all of our joy is in food, we're going to have some real troubles in life to keep that weight where it needs to be. So 5 tips I want to talk about. Number 1 is, as we lead into this Christmas season, we have to make sure that our mindset is right. The biggest thing I see is that people feel like when they start eating healthy, they're somehow being denied the good stuff. What is that about? It's not the good stuff to eat crap food that makes us fatter. It's not the good stuff. It's not the indulgence. It's not the beautiful foods. And when we start to think about it in that way, we're really stuffed before we even begin. Because then when we feel like we're eating healthy, we're restricted. We're not restricted. We're giving our body good stuff. And we've got to train our body to have good stuff. So as we go into the Christmas season, if you go in, if you're trying to stay healthy, lose weight, wherever you're at, but if you're going into the Christmas season and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to put on weight, so I'm going to have to restrict myself. I'm going to have to not eat all of those foods that I want. I can't. Just eat the chocolate, if that's how you feel. Because if that's your view of healthy food and your view of unhealthy food is so insanely positive, then you're just going to crack and fail and be grumpy about the whole process. So the better mindset is to absolutely not feel that way, but to think about all the good food that you get to eat. And there's always good food on offer. We have to make the choices to stay away from the crap stuff, right? So getting your mindset to, here's the cool stuff that I get to eat, as opposed to, I can't have that good stuff, I can't have the good stuff. Because the reality is, if your mindset is this, if chocolate and lollies and chips if you view that as good food, you will never win ever on a weight loss journey. Because you'll always think that jumping into everything that you jump into is restrictive. It stops you eating the poison that we put in our bodies that makes us gain weight. I'm not saying we shouldn't have some poison sometimes, but if we view it with such love and goodness, it's going to cause us all sorts of problems. And so Christmas time creates this environment where there's so much of this stuff, and we catch up with our friends so much that we think we need to eat it to be nice, or to be, not offend people, all that sort of stuff. Most of that's rubbish. We've got to make sure we make good decisions. So get your mindset in the place where you can win. And that mindset is, think about what you can have and how good that stuff is that you can have, as opposed to, oh, I'm missing out. If your head is in that place, then you associate pain with weight loss. It doesn't need to be like that. You can associate happiness with weight loss if you associate healthy food with goodness and happiness. And that's a shift that sometimes takes a little bit of time, but it's really important to make a deliberate effort as you lead into Christmas time to think about it like that. Because just because you're with friends doesn't mean you have to eat the chocolate. Doesn't mean you have to drink loads and loads of alcohol. Doesn't mean that you have to do any of those things. So headspace is the first bit. And then I want to talk about food. So generally, not for everybody, for most people, there's lots of food on offer. So this is number 2. Think about your food, right? There's lots of food on offer in most places that will be with family and friends. A lot of the time it's not great, but there's generally some pretty good stuff there as well. I mean, traditional stuff, your turkeys and stuff are fantastic. You know, some basic dinners and lunches are going to be there. What I would say is, I'm not saying people should pack up their little packets of really healthy steamed veggies and grilled chicken and take it to their friend's house and eat that on Christmas Day. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is be mindful of the food that you're eating. So instead of going back for 2 helpings or 3 helpings, just have one. One helping for dinner. That's all we need. We don't need any more. We always think we need more. We don't need more. So 1 helping for dinner will be fine. And that's okay. Don't worry too much about what it is then, but just don't go back again and again and again. And that applies not only to the main meal, but the dessert. Just be careful. If you can avoid the dessert, that's going to be your best friend, because generally, not always, but generally desserts are high calorie, high carbohydrate, bucket loads of sugar, all those sweet things. And so if you can avoid it, great. If not, just one. Don't go nuts. Be mindful of the food that you're putting in your mouth and choose the best foods that are on offer where possible. And realistically, no one's paying too much attention to what you're eating. They're more focused on what they're eating. It's like when I used to have my gym. I would, some women would come and talk to me and they'd say, I don't feel comfortable training in the main part. We had a ladies only section. And they said, I don't feel comfortable training in the main part because I feel like all the guys are looking at me. And I said, I promise you, they spend way more time looking at the mirror at themselves than you anytime. So I think you're okay, but you can train in the other area if you want. Most people are focused on themselves and what they're eating. They're not really. We might think they're focused on me and I'm going to offend someone. Most of the time people don't give a stuff what other people are eating. They're more focused on what they're eating. So just make the good choices, choose the right foods. And you know, you can go back to one of my earlier videos or one of my earlier podcasts and listen to all the best foods for weight loss, and that'll help and guide you to be able to make the best choices on Christmas Day. The third thing is water. Drink plenty. Now, for some people listening or watching this, alcohol will feature part of your day on Christmas Day. All I'd say is don't go too hard. Because let's imagine you've gone really well for the last however many weeks on end. If you smash it on Christmas Day, then it kind of blows a lot of that work out of the water. Alcohol is super high in calories and super high in carbohydrates. And so when you're drinking 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 glasses, you're in trouble. That's an enormous amount of calories, an enormous amount of fat stories that will come on the back of that. So just be conscious of it. You don't need to drink loads to have a great time, but you do need to drink loads of water. So every time, if you haven't drinking alcohol, drink some water along with it as well. Make sure that plenty of water is still coming in. It'll help you to probably not drink quite as much. All right, number 4 is walking. I love AFL football, and one of my favourite players ever is a guy named Shane Crawford. Now, some of you guys are not even in Australia. I did learn the other day watching my Spotify thing that I think it's like 45% of people who listen to this podcast or watch these videos are outside of Australia. So Australian rules football is my favourite sport on earth, and I go for Hawthorn, and one of my favourite players is Shane Crawford, and he's long time retired. But I was reading his book once, and he said he was extremely fit, this guy, crazy fit. And he said, I love training on Christmas Day and Easter, and because his philosophy was nobody else is, and I'm getting better than everybody else. That was his view, and I love that. I love that view. So I would say, challenge yourself and go, I'm going to do something on Christmas Day. Whether it's go for a walk, go for a run, do something. Do 100 push-ups, I don't know. Some sort of a challenge, a dance-off with one of your relatives or your family member. Do something that's active by nature, just so, because we want that to be part of our lives. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Easter, it doesn't matter. We want to be constantly moving and being active in our lives. So I'd encourage, get out for a walk, get out and do something on Christmas Day, because that'll help everything sort of keep moving. So don't be scared to get out for an hour early when everyone else is doing nothing else, and get a bit of exercise in. If you can, take your family, go for a walk. It'll be fun. Hit the park. A couple of years ago, we went out and went for a run and played a bit of cricket and all that sort of stuff down the park as a family. It was awesome fun. So do something together as a family. Get out for a bit of a walk or a run and keep moving, so that you're still expending a bit of energy from the extra stuff that you may eat on the day. But I think the most important thing is my tip number 5, and that's be prepared. If you're prepared for the day, as opposed to just letting it happen, you'll be more deliberate and mindful in the choices that you make. So make a decision early on, maybe write a few things down. If you're really in a serious weight loss phase, maybe write a couple of things down. This is how I'm going to operate. This is what I'm going to eat on the day. If you're by yourself, it's pretty easy to lay out your food and understand what you're going to do. If you're going to somebody's house, you just maybe take some things down. I'm going to make sure I still drink 2 liters of water or 3 liters of water for the day. I'm going to make sure that I only have 1 serving of lunch. I have 1 serving of dinner. I'm going to skip the dessert. You find what's going to work for you on that day, but remember that everything has an impact. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas Day or Boxing Day or New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. If we eat crap, we gain weight. So it's just understanding the balance. Now, if you've done really well during the week, I'm not saying you can't eat some crap on Christmas Day, but be mindful to not go nuts. It blows out really quick. Remember, 4 lines of a calorie block of chocolate, just 4 lines is 500 calories. The average basal metabolic rate of somebody is 1,500 calories. That's 1/3 of all your daily intake for the day until your tank is full. And what happens when we overfill the tank? We gain weight because the extra bits store as fat. So remember, that's how weight loss works. So they're my 5 tips. Focus on your mindset, have a think about your food, be mindful of those choices that you make sure you drink plenty of water, and get out for a bit of a walk, do some sort of exercise, even if it's a dance competition with your family or friends. Move a bit and make sure you're prepared. If you're prepared, you will win on this process, and it won't blow out. And another thing I want to mention is Christmas Day is Christmas Day. Don't let the eating habits of Christmas Day blow out into Boxing Day and the next day and the next day and the next day, and suddenly you've put on 4 or 5 kilos and you're just getting into the new year and you've got to work all those off again to get back to where you were before you started. So be really careful and mindful. You can still have a great time. And one thing I do want to mention, I've mentioned on other podcasts before, is that it doesn't matter the food you eat for the experience that you're going to have. Because if you're with family and friends, the experience is still the same. It doesn't matter how much alcohol you drink. It doesn't matter how much chocolate you eat. You feel crappy for eating or drinking loads of that stuff later on. But while you're with them, it's the conversation, it's the experience. If you're putting a carrot in your mouth, I know it doesn't sound sexy, but if you're putting a carrot in your mouth and they're putting a Mars bar in their mouth, it actually doesn't change the conversation. It doesn't. So don't get sucked into the vortex of, oh, I'm with these people, I have to eat this crap. So just get the balance right and have a little bit of it. It's all good. I'm not saying be super anal on Christmas Day, but don't feel like you need to overindulge and get into a slippery slope for the next few days. That's my tips. Hopefully it's helpful for you to have an amazing Christmas and not have regret after Christmas Day. That's not what we want. But hopefully you guys have an awesome Christmas. Going to be punching out some new podcast episodes in the new year, probably with a little more frequency, which will be fun. But we'll go through lots of different topics to help you to be able to lose all the weight you want, make changes in your life so that they're long lasting and you can keep the weight off for the rest of your life. Have an awesome Christmas. Take care, guys.